first I thought, what am I gonna do? How can I tell people the truth?
Opera star Joyce DiDonato has a new recording out, or I should say she appears on a new recording along with a lot of other luminaries, not only opera singers, but folks from all across the spectrum. It's called Hopes and Dreams, a collection of lullabies, which is an outgrowth of a project that Joyce has been involved in for some time now. She joins us to speak about the recording. And Joyce, why don't we begin with you telling us what the Lullaby Project is and how you came to be involved with it.
Sure. This is run by Carnegie Hall Institute, and it was started a number of years ago. They were looking for a way to bring the work that the hall does inside out into the community. A lot of people say, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. But they're looking to say, how can Carnegie Hall go out into the community? And one of the segments of the population that they wanted to try and reach were teenage mothers, single teenage moms. And they thought one of the difficulties with that segment of the population is they have a real difficult time bonding with their child because there's financial difficulties. Oftentimes they're alone. Oftentimes they're ostracized from family. And so the bonding with the child can suffer. So they said, well, let's bring a mom and their child together with a composer and put them in a room and help this mom write a lullaby to her child. And what they noticed right away was the bonding and the self-esteem of the mother just went through the roof. They've since expanded it to a lot of people. You know, there have been women who are incarcerated and give birth in prison. They're writing lullabies. Refugee mothers are writing lullabies. Now, their idea is to go into hospitals and have every newborn child have their own custom-made lullaby that their mom and dad have written for them. Wow. It's something really fundamental and I think in a way primal that connects the familial unit, whatever it may look like, and strengthens it.
Yeah.
And that's something I can go 100% behind.
What a tremendous idea. Now, I know you grew up in a big family. You had a lot of siblings. Was the idea of the lullaby sort of part of your background from the beginning?
Not really. I mean, not in a hugely present way, but I still remember what my dad sang to me. Yeah. And it was, good night, little girl, good night, little one, may God bless you tonight. And he just, I know, made it up on the spot, but I still have that. And that is my precious, prized time alone with me and my father. And I'll never forget that. Yeah. So there's a lot of power in that bonding that happens.
Absolutely. And I hadn't thought of this before, but looking over these poems that these women have written for these lullabies, you get the idea that the lullaby is not just to lull a baby to sleep. It's really about the parents as much as it is about the child.
Yeah.
And their hopes and dreams.
And their wishes for that child. And you start to see this incredible universality. And that what I love about it is you have these moms from all different backgrounds and you have singers from all different backgrounds and levels. In this case, we have a lot of stars who have come and done the covers of these lullabies. Yeah. And you start to see the fundamental connection between mother and child. And it's regardless of color or race or religion. It's that loving bond, which is the foundation of a society. And when that child is loved and when they know their place in the world, they're going to grow up and be really contributing, beautiful, productive citizens of the world. They're not going to go out and try and find where they fit in. Yeah. It's a really fundamental, powerful exchange between mother and child, or father and child.
You have recorded 3 songs on this disc, and you've been singing all 3 of those for a while.
I had the extreme pleasure of giving them their Carnegie Hall debuts at a recital that I did a few years ago. And what was beautiful is the mothers were present in the conversation. In fact, one was incarcerated at the time in Rikers prison. Carnegie Hall's doing this work in the prison with a lot of the mothers there. she was escorted out of the prison that night to attend the concert, and she was able to stand up and take a bow as a composer at Carnegie Hall. And it was a program that I had sung Strauss and Jake Heggie and the mothers of these songs. It was very powerful. And I can only imagine how that has worked to transform her self-esteem and her understanding of her capacity as a human being to create something beautiful.
Yeah.
And that was something I'll never forget.
Oh, a beautiful, beautiful experience. Now, was that sort of the genesis then for the recording project? Because I remember reading a blog post by Glenn Roven talking about that particular recital. And I know that he's involved in the recording. Can you talk about how the recording itself came to be?
Well, Glenn is a superhero. He's a wonderful producer and composer in his own right, and conductor. He's a man of many trades. And we were talking about this, and I said, "Oh, Glenn, this project is amazing." And I was getting ready. Every year they do a recital just for the mothers and their children, and it's a lot of mothers and a lot of toddlers in the room, and they perform their songs. And I said, "Glenn, you have to come hear these pieces. They're amazing." And I said offhand, I said, "We should record these." And he went, "Okay." And Glenn is a man of many, many talents and super connected. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to ask Patti LuPone. Oh, I'll ask Catherine Zeta-Jones." And he started bringing all these incredible musicians and singers. And all the singers heard about the project, and I think almost without hesitation, they all said yes.
Yeah.
And everybody came in and donated their time and their efforts to make this project happen, because all the proceeds of the album goes right back into the Lullaby project.
Oh, wonderful.
I should say maybe the end result or the end idea of this is that this becomes truly a global project. And I think the dream is that every child that is born would end up with their own custom lullaby written by their parents.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a gorgeous idea and a connective dream to bring to reality.
Yeah. I made up a lullaby or two for my kids when they were younger, but now I'm rethinking all of that.
How did it go? How did it go?
It was just a nanny song. I would be embarrassed to even try. But my idea was to get them, to sleep, and now I'm starting to rethink the whole idea behind a lullaby. Now, you're known primarily as an opera singer, and there are a couple of other opera singers on this recording as well. Mm-hmm. Did you bring them on board, or did they come on through Glenn?
Actually, that was through Glenn, because, my idea was Glenn is the producer. I mean, he really had the idea of the sounds of the songs. And what I think is so fantastic about the way the album plays is it has, it's very connected through the theme of lullabies, but all the songs are so different. And he uncannily had the producer knows to really find the right singer for the right lullaby. Yeah. I know in the case of many of the singers, like Patti LuPone, for example, he sent her several samples and said, "What speaks to you?" And of course, I think that's important because you hear, like, for example, Rihanna Gibbons, who's phenomenal on the disc. You can tell that she really identifies with the pieces. My baby likes bacon, and it's just, each one is the right flavor, so to speak. So that was his call.
I love that song, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
That's one of the standouts there. Speaking of the songs, let's talk a little bit about the music that you've recorded here. Of course, you have the title track.
Yeah.
Hopes and Dreams, which is just a beautiful song with the Brentano String Quartet. Can you talk about the mother that wrote that poem?
Oh, well, her and Matilda, the baby girl that it was written for. It's what I love is when we recorded this, I had already performed the song at Carnegie Hall, and all the mothers came and they all join in on the big anthem at the end. It's sort of the We Are the World anthem.
Right.
And Dream Big. And also all the mothers and all the kids are in the room singing, and it's so uplifting. But Matilda ran right into my arms and didn't want to go because I'm her singer of her song. And it's this, she was 2.5 or 3 at the time. And she had a real sense of ownership about this and a kind of bonding, not only with her mom, but with me over this. And I thought, my God, if I had a song like that when I was young, it gives her a certain kind of identity, or she understands her place in the world. And it's a song that expresses a lot of insecurity on the mom's part, basically saying, I hope I do right by you. Yeah. I hope I'm a good mom, and I have so many hopes and dreams for you. And what I love about this is you feel really how universal that sentiment is from a mother to child. And it's a beautiful moment in time, I think, to bring this out into the world.
Yeah, and it's very effective that she speaks part of the poetry over the music in the recording.
Absolutely. In Spanish. Yeah, and it's really you can feel that it really comes right from her heart.
Mamá y papá, te amos muchos. I hope you are grateful. I hope you are nice. On this special day, the music that comes is all for you.
Can you talk just a little bit about the composers and the collaborative process? Because somebody wrote the music for these poems. Yeah,
there's a group of amazing composers that sit in the room, and you can imagine it's the parents are a little bit insecure at the beginning about none of them are professional musicians. Very few, if any, have had any kind of musical training. And so you think, how am I supposed to write a song? I can't do that. I don't know how to write a song. And the composers very patiently, very gently walk them through, say, what do you want to say to your child? What do you want to talk about? And they start with the text. And with the text starts to come a rhythm. And with a rhythm, the composers sit there with a little 2-octave keyboard and they start to sort of hum out a few things and find a rhythm. And you can start to see the parents start to identify and click in. And the composers are trained so well to really understand the natural, organic feeling of the song and the sentiment that the parents want to convey. And so some are really quite a ballad. Some are a little bit more rock and roll. Some are bossa nova. Some are a little bit more soaring kind of anthem. And each one is utterly unique, but they're all joined by the theme of the parent just wanting the best for their child.
Yeah.
It's very moving.
Dream big and never give up. Dream big, never give up.
Listening to all of this and even looking at the pictures in the booklet of the parents and the children, it really brings to mind so many different things. This message of hope, especially, with everything that's going on in today's world, very relevant. What kind of message do you hope that people who maybe aren't necessarily parents themselves will take from this album?
A lot. It's a great question. A lot of messages. I think the fundamental purity of a mother and child, or a parent and child, when you can see the universality of that, then race falls away, religion falls away, and you see a fundamental building block of society. And it is universal, and it's pervasive in every culture. The other thing is that need to give dignity and a place in the world to children. If they have that, they're not going to look for it in places where it doesn't come naturally to the human spirit. They're going to find it in their family. They're going to find it in themselves, a sense of self-esteem and confidence. And that is a powerful thing that we can build on as a community.
The album is called Hopes and Dreams, the Lullaby Project. It's from Decade Gold. Joyce DiDonato, thank you so much for joining us here on FM 91.
Thanks so much, Brad. Take care.